So I think everybody was captivated yesterday with that circus that took place on the Hill, despite Rand Paul's best efforts. I don't like Rand Paul. I've said it over and over again. I think he's basically a Trump traitor. But yesterday, in the Anthony Fauci hearing, he was nothing short of brilliant. Prepared, knew what he was talking about, and nailed Fauci to the wall. We all know what happened, watching for hours, and Anthony Fauci over 100 times, listen to me carefully, I know you heard this a bunch already this morning, over 100 times took the fifth. Why? Because he had nothing to say. Because it is clear, based upon what he wrote in his diary, that he's a liar, he's a fraud. You can make an argument he's a murderer, right? I mean, people died. He turned a whole generation of our kids into morons. I'll say it. A lot of our kids are morons. And it was all worth it because people like Gavin Newsom and Bill de Blasio and Barbara Streisand and Mila Kunis all loved him. He was a popular guy. He goes from famous to infamous. And now, as Ted Cruz pointed out, I played this earlier, maybe public enemy number one, maybe forever, here in the United States. What a disaster yesterday was. Let's talk to my guy. Follows me each and every weekday morning right here on 77 WABC at 10 a.m. Does an amazing job on Fox and Friends every morning and has his own great show. I love it. One Nation, 10 p.m. Sunday nights. Brian Kilmeade. Brian, with the attorney getting kicked out and all the, I'm not talking Fifth Amendment stuff, yesterday, unfortunately, turned out to be a circus.
Yeah, I mean, what did I learn from that? What I learned is he got $1 million prize. He made 9 separate people apply for these awards during the pandemic. What did we learn from that? The whole 1,100 pages is his diary. Sid, to be on the air doing what we're doing, to be president of the United States, you got to have a healthy ego and self-confidence. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, if there was a profile on Sid Rosenberg at Time Magazine, if you were keeping a diary, I'm not sure you are. You might have a full-time biographer who lives with you, who's going to eventually release a documentary along with it. But, you know, you might say, hey, it's kind of cool to be on the cover of Time Magazine. This guy was obsessed with himself. He was obsessed with celebrity like a teenage girl. Julia Roberts likes me. Barbara Streisand, I taught her how to use an Alexa. Brad Pitt played me on television. Meanwhile, we have the worst mortality rate, pound for pound, in the world. People are dying. And I went crazy on this, Sid. I don't know how often I was on with you back then, but I was saying, did he just say wear a mask, not wear a mask? Did he just say if you have a vaccine, don't wear a mask? Did he just say if you have a vaccine, you can't get an infection? Did he just say 6 feet apart or else being irresponsible? Did he just deny that he said 6 feet apart had anything to do with it? Did he say shut down the schools? Don't have Christmas, don't have Hanukkah? No, he never said that. And then he said, I never said 6 feet apart. We have everything. He contradicted himself. We have it on tape. And then knowing that he wrote down the truth, it wasn't a mistake. He didn't give a bad interview or say something say something he regrets. He wrote down the truth, and it all starts with the origins of the virus. If we know where it started, we knew how to stop it, but he wouldn't let us know where it started. And then he sat there and tried to undermine Trump on a regular basis, leaked out things about what was going on behind the scenes. In the middle of an election, it made Donald Trump seem like he wasn't in control. And then we have Joe Biden, an adult room. By it well said and done, with the vaccine, more people died under Joe Biden and Anthony Fauci than died under Trump when we didn't even know what hit us and what was about to swamp us. And even the ventilators were killing people. So he bragged about telling de Blasio, I convinced him to shut down the city. And I think about how much damage that he did, how many relationships kids don't have today, how many friendships that don't exist. I know 4 or 5 people that had to leave college sports. You know, I'm not talking about they were going pro, but you love it when you're playing it. And then they said, get a vaccine or quit. And even my nephew, they said he last's going to his senior year of soccer, about to get a degree from a military academy. They said, get a vaccine. He said no. They said, you are gone. So he had to go wait tables, apply to a Florida college, and then go and lose 60 credits and take another year and a half of school because Anthony Fauci made crap up. I'm not saying the vaccine wasn't effective for some, but it wasn't necessary for healthy people, and it certainly wasn't necessary for toddlers, and he is still being worshipped like idiots from Andy Kim of New Jersey. I just want to thank you for all you did for the country. How dare you say that?
That was grotesque. Andy Kim, though, is a complete jerk-off. I'm going to say it. You can't say that on Fox. I can. As we know, I say whatever I want on Fox. But
I know nothing about him.
Right? I'm sure you don't. But, you mentioned people who lost their jobs. And, I get a kick out of watching Eric Adams these days. I know you liked him, and I'm here to remind you every day that for 3/4 of his stay as mayor, he was terrible. Not bad, terrible. The city was a mess. Pro-Hamas running everywhere. Veterans on park benches. Homeless on park benches. Illegals in 5-star hotels. Crime out of control. 4 different police commissioners. Corrupt police department. And his whole administration basically should have gone to prison. It was a mess. Only because he had Bill de Blasio before him, and he's got this animal since, does it come up looking good. But you know that Eric Adams let go of a lot of city workers, very brave city workers, while he allowed people like Kyrie Irving and Aaron Judge to play sports. They never got their jobs back. They begged Adams till the day he left. They never got their jobs back. You know that, right?
No, I did not know that, and it seems like ancient history. But the one thing I'd say about Eric Adams, he was a politician, and you can disagree and not disagree. I don't want to set you off, but I don't know what this mayor is. He's not a politician.
No, he's an animal.
He's got an agenda.
Yeah, no,
so I'm used to saying lazy, good, right? Very conservative, very liberal, but I don't know what this guy is.
No, exactly.
This current mayor is. So I had Eric Adams on Will Cain show. I substituted this week, Monday and Tuesday. So I think he was on Monday or Tuesday, one of those days, and I'm able to talk to him. I have no interest in talking to the head of the Socialist Society, the DSA. I have no interest in talking to this candidate over in Wisconsin that's a avowed socialist that I was about to get the Democratic nomination, or El Said, who pretends not to be but is over in Michigan. And this guy who's looking for reparations, he's looking to tax the rich, he's looking for to drive people like John Catsimatidis out of business by having government subsidize food stores, whatever that's going to turn out to be. It's going to be, I think, an empty warehouse full of expired food. But I'll take Eric Adams and controversial decisions any day over this guy.
Yeah, but that's not the barometer for something good. You're right. So would I. In fact, I'm hoping that Eric Adams can help Bruce Blakeman and maybe with the African-American community and help us in that respect. But saying that you take him over this guy, that's not a barometer. It's the same thing with Bill de Blasio. Take him over Bill de Blasio, that's not a barometer. I want you to be able to compare Eric Adams to Giuliani or Bloomberg. That's a good mayor, not saying, he's better than Bill, he's better than Mamdani. So what? And the latest Mamdani, I guess, controversy is a couple of days ago. By the way, I saw your interview on the Will Cain show with Eric Adams. It was excellent. It was excellent. But a couple of days ago, I had a guy on my show named Giovanni Galante. Giovanni's wife, at the age of 29, was murdered in the South Tower on 9/11. And this man started the petition to keep Mamdani away from that sacred soil as we get set to commemorate 25 years this September. Now, just so you know, Brian, right after we celebrated July 4th, I shifted my focus on this show to 9/11. I have played a 9/11 clip every single day since July the 6th, every single day. So this guy obviously tugged at my heart. I put him on the show a couple of days ago. When he came on, there was about 15,000 signatures. Now there's close to 50,000 signatures. I agree that this mayor has no right. A mayor that's friendly with Hassan Piker, who said America deserved 9/11. A mayor that helped Chevalier win a primary. She said America deserved 9/11. A mayor taking smiling selfies in the street with a cleric who was a co-conspirator in the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. He has no right being there, and the families don't want him there. They all won't say it because they're afraid of political repercussions, but they don't want him there. Even President Trump mentioned it yesterday. So I want this guy as far away as possible. I think he's still going to be there, but I don't want him there. How do you feel?
I would love for him not to go. I mean, he doesn't show up when the cardinal gets changed, first time in history, over at St. Patrick's Cathedral. Doesn't show up at the Puerto Rican Day Parade. Doesn't show up at the Israeli Day Parade. He goes in primaries, a Hispanic leader who, Espeleta, know nothing about him except for on the Democratic side. So he goes after every ethnic group. And then he goes after rich, some most successful New Yorkers on a regular basis, and now this next tax. So on 9/11, when he won't even condemn the words globalize the infantata, if he's not going to condemn those words, what makes you think that he's going to condemn, he legitimately condemns the attack? So why was he going to make a stand and show up at this event when he doesn't really show up at any other events except for, inviting that Khalid guy from Colombia over to celebrate a Muslim holiday over at Gracie Mansion? I'd love for him not to show up, but I think he will. So I for a couple of things, I also see that on the cover of the New York Post today, that one of the stars of Everyone Loves Raymond, she has come out and says she is asking him not to show up. So you're going to see we're going to see a lot of other people who are going to just say, Patricia Heaton, who are going to say, stay away. But I just don't want him to be the story. My worry is when he shows up, he's going to be the story. When he doesn't show up, he's going to be the story. When it should be about, Frank Siller, and it should be about those people that lost loved ones and everything that's happened since.
Yeah, really, Steven Siller, Frank's brother, who died in very heroic fashion that day. You're exactly right. And that's what Peter King said on this show yesterday. Let's not make it about this creep, this mayor. So either way, one way or the other, we got to get through this petition and this outcry from the city to stay away and then focus on what's really important. I mentioned President Trump, Brian Kilmeade, and there he was yesterday talking about this 9/11 controversy with Mamdani. A couple of days ago, Lindsey Graham's funeral, had the chance to meet with both Bibi Netanyahu. Good meeting. I know he was upset that Bibi told everybody that I told you about Pickaxe Mountain, and Trump denied that, but he did. Then he met with Zelensky, so a pretty big week for President Trump in terms of meeting with the two guys, really only the two conflicts that are left out there because President Trump has pretty much resolved everything else.
It's what a consequential week. I mean, we get the Russian sanctions. I'm big into Ukraine. I'm in awe that now they're giving us more technology. They're giving us anti-drone defense. They are able to form 500 defense contracting companies in the middle of a war. And now they're saying to America, if you give us a license to make Patriots, for every 100 we make, we'll give you back 20. Because we're making 600 a year. They can make 600 in 3 weeks. I mean, what Ukraine has done, they have become the ally that we wanted NATO to become. They're saying, let me tell you, here's the technology that Russia's using to relay to Iran. I'm in awe of Zelensky, all these people on the right that said he was a criminal and he's getting rich off this war and that Russia was right. They had no choice. Please know how stupid you are. And please understand that in the end, they will be writing about this era. Ukraine will be our premier ally who does substantial things for, not even lip service, substantial things for us. And I just think the President of the United States, when it comes to this war in Iran, no more of these, I'm going to hit you back. Just take them out or we'll leave. This does not work. We have 4 or 5 plans that are on the table. And the president, I talked to people that have looked at it, they say they're excellent, that could really bring them to their knees and damage them legitimately. IRGC will be the target. We can't keep dancing on the edges because the longer it lasts, the stronger Iran, even though they're getting weaker, the stronger they look. And the closer it gets to the midterms, and the president will pay the price for no reason, for confronting an enemy that other presidents decided was too hard to do. This president says, nobody's going to do it after me. I'm going to take it on. So, Mr. President, go call the IDF in, finish these guys off. And guess who also wants to fight? Saudi Arabia and Kuwait and UAE. Arm up, ready to go. Saudis are flying. Let's just do it. It'll be worse before it gets better. But if we start today, we'll be done with this by the second week in August, but not what we're doing now.
Couldn't agree more. I said the same thing on my controversial Fox News TV appearance on Saturday. And I've been getting hammered the last 5 days by Glenn Greenwald and Alex Jones and Joe Kent, General Michael Flynn. Yeah, what an honor. These losers that are really traitors at this point that are taking Trump to task for doing what he's doing. And you know, Brian, I am in lockstep with you. I've been saying for months, what you just said just now, quite frankly, and I love him to death, President Trump should have done over 2 months ago. It's enough already. Last one, Brian Kilmeade. I'm taking my daughter today to the University of Pennsylvania. She's starting UPenn Law School on Monday. Very exciting. She finished her undergraduate work at UK, of course, at Cardiff University in Wales. But my daughter grew up a big-time tennis player in Boca Raton. You've got kids, big-time soccer players and athletes. So, Brian Kilmeade, to you, is Sophie Cunningham a hero?
Absolutely. Unbelievable. The bodyguard for Caitlin Clark, who is a fantastic player. By the way, a fantastic singer. Have you heard her sing?
Yes.
So now she's got a shoe out, a sneaker out that's sold out. And then she doubles and triples down and says, oh, by the way, the common sense. Men shouldn't be in women's locker rooms and trans men should not be in women's sports. And the Seattle owner of the WNBA franchise saw two fans of Sophie Cunningham who were wearing the XXXY shirt, which is symbolic for the same thing. And they said, basically you disgust me. And this was overheard. And now she's been suspended. But imagine going to a WNBA game to support Sophie Cunningham wearing a shirt and then being told by the owner of the other team, you disgust me. So that's Seattle, though, by the way. That's Seattle, but how irresponsible. And these people just keep playing into it. She becomes a bigger and bigger star.
Couldn't agree more. I love it, too. And I love Caitlin Clark. And the league is racist. That's the bottom line. All these black girls are beating up on Caitlin Clark, and it took a white girl and Sophie Cunningham to come to the rescue. Okay, 3 days away from the big show, the big one coming up on Sunday night, my favorite cable show, One Nation on Fox News. What are we looking at, Brian?
Well, first off, I got to tell you, October 17th in Westbury Music Fair. Do not forget BrianKilmeade.com. Sid will be there. I'm going to salute America in a fun, entertaining way. So it's going to be streamed on Fox Nation, but I want to meet you in person. Sunday, Jim Jordan's going to be with us. Jimmy Fail is going to be there. Douglas Brinkley. And what exactly is communism? Is this the root from socialism? Why should we not blow up the Senate? Why should we not blow up the Supreme Court and the Defense Department? Douglas Brinkley brings us back into the creation of the Constitution and why this cannot stand. I'm all for making the country better, but that would be destroying the country. But I want a historian's perspective. And then we're going to find out how to lead the Green Beret way with Lieutenant Colonel Schaefer. So he's Green Beret. We got a couple of slots to fill. We're still looking at a few people, but it's going to be a big show Sunday at 10 p.m.
Brian, you're the absolute best. Whether you're doing the radio show after me every day, your morning slot on Fox and Friends, your own amazing show, One Nation. You're a great talent, and I tell everybody this, an even better guy. I do love you. And I will stay within myself. I'll be quiet this weekend. I'll be spending 3 days with my wife and my daughter in Pennsylvania. So not a lot of fanfare after what I went through on Saturday the last 3 or 4 days with millions and millions of hits. I was trending number 3 on Twitter on Saturday night across the world that actually said Sid Rosenberg, United States. So I had trouble staying within myself over the weekend. But this weekend, completely different story.
But see, if you know staying within yourself, that is within yourself. That's what Sid does. If you were calm over the weekend, that's not what Sid does. So it's like if you score goals, don't tell me don't become a setup man. Sid, you score goals. That's it. You got to be yourself. All right. Thanks a lot, Sid. Go get him. Finish up strong.
Thank you, buddy. That's the great Brian Kilmeade. Follows me each and every weekday morning right here at 10. Fox and Friends and 10 p.m. Sunday nights. One Nation Fox News. Great, great show. Trust me. Make sure you watch it. We'll take a short break. Still lots more to do. Joseph Tacopina, Bill O'Reilly, and Clay Travis. All that and more still to come. Thursday edition. Sid and Friends in the morning.
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the Morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the Morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?